please, do not hold my trousers like that. Well, I'm not a chicken thief. It was like, don't tell me anything. For your own information, I'm a PhD holder. For you just studied from a very cheap university and you know nothing. I felt so bad seeing so many soldiers in my house, turning everything of mine in the house upside down. I asked, after seeing the DP still also in the house, because I know him by the names of Alex Muine Mukono, asked him now, do you people have a search warrant to do such a thing in my house while I'm on handcuffs? They're like, we do not need that. It's like, did you inform Parliament about what you're doing right now? We do not need all that. They started pushing me with their guns out of my house. Getting out, I saw very many soldiers in my compound. I have a very huge compound at home. And these people were really so harsh, speaking with arrogance. I really smiled and laughed, like, this is unbelievable. How can you behave like this? They're like, so Zake, you're trying to resist arrest. I was like, come on, you have handcuffed me and I'm walking wherever you're sending me. How can you say that I'm resisting arrest? There were camera personnel I saw, and I believe these people planned to come with all of those people. They knew what they were going to do. So I laughed at them. I was like, you people, if you think that distributing foodstuffs is the problem, for me, I cannot see my people starving when there is nothing government is doing in my district, Mityana. I cannot see my people starving, yet I need these people, and these people really need me and they love me so much. I got into the car. All that was captured, and I know it was in the public domain, I'm very sure. They put me in their double cabin car with several other police trucks I saw. I want to remind you that in my house, I had a tune of 15 million Ugandan shillings, which was taken by those people, informed to me by my wife, that these people, after taking me to police, they came back still and they messed up the whole house. The bedroom where the money was, the phone, and also the whole of the sitting room. Everything was messed up. And they were telling everyone as they were looking for food. Disappointingly, they didn't find anything. But I'm wondering why they took that money. Reaching at the police station of Mityana, that is the Muine Alex Mukono. So for me, I sat in between another person who was not in uniform and then the RPC. Before I reached the police station, I remember very well those people telling me, now we have you in our hands and there is nothing now you can do. We are going to really show you something you've never experienced in my life. Really, I never believed that at first, but later on, I really faced whatever they told me. So at the police station, they just dragged me out of the car, up to their offices. And that office, he punched me on my mouth, and I started bleeding right away. And also, Mr. Mwine Mkono, he kicked me, and I had to fall down still while I'm handicapped in his office. They told me that how can a useless person like you, who cannot even be a class monitor, later a member of parliament, think that you can really fight President Museveni? Comrades, I want to assure you that there was nothing which these officers within their offices talked about distributing foodstuffs. They never talked about that within that office. As I was asking them why all that was done to me, that really was boosting the beatings, the kicks, the punches, the slaps by the different people whom I did not know, but at least I knew those two, the RPC and the DPC. These people bundled me up and put me into their cell of Mityana police station. Reaching that cell, I realized that the cell was so tiny and dark. It had over 20 people. But reaching that cell, I realized there was a woman, and I was very surprised to see a woman with men in the same cell. I picked interest in her. She really narrated her ordeal to me. Did these other men in the cell for over 3 weeks in that cell, and they were only fed on maize seeds for all that time. This people informed me how most of them were HIV positive, but they were never given medicine, the ARVs. So much. But I was like, you guys, keep calm. I think when I'm out of here, since I'm your leader, I'll be able to at least talk about these things. That was within like, I think, 20 to 30 minutes, if I can remember so well. These people came back to the door of that cell. They requested me. They were barking at me. Zake, come out. I was trying to come. These other people in the cell started shouting on top of their voices, Tulinawe, Tulinawe, Tulinawe. People power, people power. I think this annoyed. And I saw the DPC there, the RPC, and many other soldiers. All of it was tear gassed. Everyone was groaning in the cell, trying to shed tears in the cell, including myself. They were able to pick me up amongst the many, dragged me, kicked me, did all sorts of things, and took me to the waiting many patrol cars in the compound. Reaching there, I vividly saw the RPC telling the officers, please And he said that in Runyankole. Please make sure he does not see. They got some small bottles I was seeing. They put them direct in my eyes for some time, till when I would hear him shaking. I would hear the person shaking and putting, and then put another down. I had it being dropped, and then put another one in my eyes. I thought maybe it is pepper spray because it was really so painful, so itching. I cried a lot. I shouted. I was like, please forgive me, please forgive me. They would not hear. They would not really listen to me. I thought maybe it is pepper spray, and thought maybe after some time I would see again. But almost up to now, I can hardly see. Though the doctors, the opticians, they are trying to work upon this. That's why I'm having these glasses to go to the light. They tied me. They put two handcuffs, and two handcuffs this side, and they tied them all over these parts. It was very also painful. They tied me with ropes, and they joined both ends of the ropes to put me behind the police truck. There is that back side of the truck, or the police truck of the double cabin, where the policemen sit, but there is that space in between. It is actually triangular in nature. They made sure that I was suspended and hanged without actually leaning against both ends of the metals, and also not touching down the metallic ground of that truck. And that was done with insults, abusing me, how I'm very dense, how I should thank President Museveni for making a useless person like me a member of parliament, that I should be appreciative of him. So many other insults were told to me. I had several cars starting. I think there were over 4, if I'm not mistaken. They drove me at a very terrible speed. Whenever we would come across the road bumps, my body would swing on the sides of the metals. It was so hurting, and whenever they reached the potholes, I would slightly like get up and down while my back, since I was facing up, while my back was really touching the metallic floor of the truck. It was so painful. Countrymen and women, I've never felt that pain before in my life. I groaned. I asked for help. These people were only inflicting more pain with sticks, with their guns, and their boot stepping on me. I felt so numb within my limbs, my legs, my hands. It was so painful, so much. I cried than ever before I've ever done. Not even the Alua. Up to now, whenever I remember that pain, it really gets back to me. It was very painful. A lot. They took me for about 2 hours. Reached at the gate which I had. The gates opened so fast, and one of them asked, "Who is that?" One of the officers asked, "It is this dog Zake." I had thought that maybe this is the person I would be asking for help from, because I asked him, "Please help me." he really didn't. And I heard a word in Lunyankole saying, what? And what in Lunyankole? Something like, but it meant that you're now just farting, but you'll soon defecate. Something like, was a nyampa and something like that. I was hearing something of that kind because I can listen to the language, though I cannot speak it. It was very disappointing because I had thought maybe I'd reached a police station where at least I'll be put in maybe in a place with dignity and not inflicting more pain. These people within the compound, while still on handcuffs, after untying me, they really forced me that I should walk. Something which I could not do. I fell down. They stopped on my head with their boots. Beating started from their compound. They dragged me downstairs. The echoes I had made me feel that now this is a very huge building. They put me down on the floor. They began caning me so much while being handcuffed. Sincerely, I cannot count the number of strokes they gave to me, but it was adding more pain to the extent that I was not even now not feeling anything since my hands were already numb and still handcuffed. I could not feel my limbs, the legs. That was the time they really telling me that I'm just a shitted dog. And they said that in Lunyankole still Mazimbwa, something like that. That you, Zake, you're always there with Honorable Kyagulanyi, lying to yourself that Uganda will ever become a president. But trust me, you should be aware from today that this country has its owners, and you people, you're not part of the owners of this country. It is Muzei, and they were referring to President Museveni. Those people, whenever I would say anything, it really added more pain on me. There is something I felt like a stick, like having things which were piercing on my chest, and it felt like as if it was barbed wires on my chest, my back, which they kicked so much, and my legs, as I'll show you everything on my body. The sides of my tummy, they put those things which felt like barbed wires. They were inflicting more pain. They told me that, Zake, you should know that colleagues, I want to tell you that in that room, they never talked about distribution of food at all. I was never beaten for distributing food because it was not talked about anywhere. Within even that room, it was never done. was a lot of pain. These people really put a lot of threats to me. In my whole life, I've never experienced tribal statements like which I felt in that room. And most of the words, 90%, it was Runyankole, and a few words were said, like 10% in Luganda, and they were mocking me. Even reminded me one time, a few weeks before we lost Rutana Kenya and Dani Cheyuna, that is like we had you crying out to the Katikiro to tell the Kabaka to say a word about the killings happening on Ugandas, so that they can stop at least within Uganda and other areas. So, where is your Kabaka here to help you? Where is your Katikiro to help you? You people, this country doesn't belong to you, and you should know that. It is high time you quit politics and participate on other things. One man came and stepped so hard on my head, and he told me in Uganda to repeat after him, as he was beginning to tell me those words which I should repeat after him. I started hesitating. That called more kicks on my lower back. He said, which still hurts up to now. I want to assure you that I was only fighting for my life. I had to say everything without telling me. Zake, nagamba Zake, okuva n'olwaleero titwagala kuddamu kukulaba ng'owakanya President, His Excellency, the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the Honorable. They told me never to also talk about and oppose the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, and also their most honorable son, Kainerugaba, the next president. And those are the words they were telling me to repeat after. Zake, okuva n'olwaleero toddangamu kubanga owakanya president w'eggwanga lino Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Janet Kataha Museveni, wamu n'owekitiibwa ennyo Kainerugaba Muhoozi, president addako nga bye bigambo bangamba njogere ne bangamba Zaake ne tuddamu tukuwulira ng'ogamba nga weerimba nti Honorable Kyagulanyi ye president addako tugenda kusiibula obulamu bw'ensi eno kubanga kino kitandika butandisi tugenda kukulagako kiki tusobola okukola kubanga mmwe Abaganda temuli sobola wadde okufuga kebe regioni endala yonna. I want to tell you, this has been my fourth time when I'm being tortured. It is my fourth time as a member of parliament being tortured. The first time I'd just come to parliament during the Tojikwatako, where I was tortured, you remember very well, where my head was hit. The second time, I remember all those times. Actually, I don't need to repeat all of them, even the one where they tear gassed my house in Michiana, still by the same DPC, Alex Mwene, participated a lot in my beating. Still, from there, they called Honorable Kyagulanyi still also a dog. And one of them was mimicking him while speaking in some kind of mocking way. Mulowooza musobola okufuga, mulowooza mulina kye musobola okukola, mulowooza mulina kye musobola okukola. Tugenda kukukolako kubanga teri muntu yenna asobola kubanga yeekalakaza ku lulo. no one will be demonstrating for you because we are running the show. People are under lockdown. We are the only ones running the show. No one will demonstrate for you. You'll be here and no one will come for your help. I felt so bad. All that happening. Friends, these people got out of that building, and I remember one person ran to me and I heard the voice saying, Zake tokaba nyo munange, bino bye tuyita mu bulijjo. Zake, do not cry. This is what we experience every day here. Because they had dropped me now in another place which felt like a cell. Zake tokaba, bino bye tuyita mu bulijjo. N'abalala ne batandika okuba nga bajja gye ndi ne bagamba Zake, this place is called Semwai and the torture is done from the basement. They informed me and they cried to me that Zake, for you a leader, I think you will not be kept here for so long like us. For us, we've stayed here. Some of them, they're telling me they were there for months, so many months, and others for years. Well, at that Semwai torture center. They really requested me that I should really help them when I'm released, that I really expose whatever is happening in that place, that at least they be released, or at least they face the court and that serve in prison, even when they committed certain crimes. That took around something like 20 minutes or 30. These people came back. They came back. They handcuffed me. They removed the handcuffs from my hands, and now they put them outside. They put them behind my back, and that is the so-called Kandoya. They dragged me out. They put me back to the patrol, but this time I was facing now down. I was facing down, not like the other time when I was coming from Itiana. Well, I was facing up. This time I was facing down since that they handcuffed me from behind. They still suspended me in air, like how they did it from Itiana. All that happening, they drove for some few minutes and they reached some other place. They still untied me, got me off the truck. They dragged me, still with beatings and everything. Beating was just happening all the time. All the kind of beating you can think of. To summarize everything, getting tired. They put me under the floor, which was, I felt, cemented, but they poured a certain chemical on me, which was very cold on my hands, all over the body. It made me feel so much pain, so much pain. It was very cold, and I don't know it was meant for what purpose. But as I would try to turn around, I would feel that I was under a table on a cemented ground. I shouted from there. I groaned in, do not shout. this is not your father's premises. Instead of concentrating to your father's business, who has become rich under this regime, you wouldn't be the person to actually oppose Mr. Museveni. They taught me so many insults, friends. I can't remember. I really can remember everything, but I'm getting so tired to tell you each and everything they said, but so many insults and tribal statements. And I want to put it clear that in my whole life, I want to put it on record, I have been one of the people who have been actually talking against tribalism and any kind of sectarianism. And I remember also the Honorable Kyagulanyi as our leader institutionally within our ranks. He has always been against that. In the morning, within that other second place, they made me join. They put me in a cell where I joined other captives, and they're the ones who lifted me. And that was the second day. I was inside that place. They told me that that place is the one called the SIU torture chambers. Bachita Echiyumba Bo Mundomo. The RP was so friendly to me and other captives within. I found out there were so many journalists within that place. And I want to categorically talk about one person of the Voice of Africa called Katende. Yeah, he was so friendly to me because they looked after me, saying that I was unable to sit, I was unable to stand, and all that. They would be lifting me. They would be bringing me stuff where I can urinate from. They told me that those people have 1 meal a day of porridge and beans. And in the morning they would be given porridge. Since I was so swollen with blood all over me, all over my mouth, this person they called RP within that place could keep for me a cup of porridge, which I would take in the evening when it is cold, and that's what I would feed on the whole day. But they told me, the captives within, that there is what they call interrogation. And interrogation included insults, beating, and you would be put in a separate room. You slashed, you're given a lot of strokes. They told me all that. I felt so bad because I told them what about that semi-basement where they were also tortured from. I remember one OC in that place, whom they called OC, the captives. He's by the names Walugembe, Batiramuita Musa. They call him Musa. I remember she used to hand me over to a man he called to SJ. And on the third day, that man, when he told me that, Zake, you're right here, but we want us to make a deal that you'll be resting for 6 hours and you'll be beaten for 30 minutes. And he asked me, do you agree? To SJ Hamadan speaking. At least I know the voice, even when I don't know how he looks like, but I know the voice. He has kind of, I need to go to Kisakavu. Nenga na yebi kambe bisinga, abiyogera n'engulu nyankole. Nyira nga asobola okubitegera kuba asobola okuwulira ennimi ezimu kati ng'olwo. Kuba ndi interested nnyo okubeera nga mmanyi ennimi okuziwulira. Era asatu kuba njagala okubajjukizako nti tebanzijukizanga muntu tebalina muntu yenna gwe banzikirizanga kundaba, kabe wa famire yange, kabe mukyala wange, kabe taata wange, kabe muntu yenna oba a colleague member of parliament. But on the third day bangamba nti ngenda kuba sinkana omuntu, nembabuuza muntu kyoyo, ne bangamba nti Honorable Mwiru. Ba inmates abo bansitula bulungi nnyo bamenga bagamba nti temunumya, do not please hurt me. Ne bansitula nga bankwatira mu bbanga nga ninganga abeera ku stretcher, bankwatanga abantu bangi, ne bankwata naye Besigye ng'agamba osobola okutambula weekoza. Besigye oyo nga bw'aŋŋamba osobola okutambula weekoza, mumuleke. Ne bambi bo abasibe abo, basibe bannange bampulirangako nnyo ekisa. They used to feel pity of me and they never listened to him. But n'abagamba, he actually told them that to put me in a van. It was still a patrol car, double cabin. So Mr. Besigye used to force me to sit, yet I never really was never able to sit because of the numbness on my legs, even the hands. Actually, up to now, some of these fingers, they are still numb. It was very painful. He was saying he was taking me to see Honorable Mwiru, but on the way, he told me that, Zake, if you think this is just a joking matter, there is someone who wants to talk to you. And he told me that was President Museveni. On the other side, I had a backing voice. Why don't you quit politics and concentrate on your father's business? I did not respond because I was feeling so much pain because I was being forced to sit within that car. And I was feeling so much pain, I did not concentrate to hear whether the voice really belonged to Museveni or not. And maybe I thought these are some of their techniques of torture. Or maybe it may be true. I don't know. There was, from the torture chambers up to the place where he took me, it was about 5 minutes. And reaching there, he got out, dragged me out, still forcing me to walk, something which I was unable. The people who helped him at least to lift me by the hands in the air to take me. They made me lie on the table, just like how you saw in the court of Michiana within their offices. They told me that that is the SIU offices. So the SIU offices within Honorable Mwiru came at glimpse at me. Honorable Mwiru, I heard him say, "This is impossible. It cannot be. Is this a member of parliament? No. Officers, please, this person needs medication." Honorable Mwiru realized that my lips were they were like wounded, and they appeared so dry. And he told me, "I think your sugar levels must be so low. You need something." He went out and came back with drinks. Trust me, the drink he gave me felt like Splash, something. I think it was the most ever tasteful thing I've ever had on planet Earth at that moment. I felt somehow a little relieved. I told him the whole story about what happened to me from the time I came there. She was listening in silence, thinking that maybe I was alone. After telling him all that story, he was told to go away. Then maybe I thought this would have come back. When Bombero was going away, I told him, please, Bombero, do not leave me here. Please make sure you do something. At least please make sure whatever I've told you, you tell to Honorable Kyagulanyi and other leaders. Honorable was like, okay, let me do my best, but it has not been easy for me to reach here because even other colleagues are outside, have not been allowed to enter inside here. That person, Tracy J, I'm done, backed at me and told me, Zake, you're going to regret the reason as to why you've told whatever we've done to you to Honorable Mwiru. I felt so scared. I thought these people were not listening to me since the place was very quiet as I was telling everything to Honorable Mwiru. I thought they were not there. They told me, you're going to face it rough. Because we made an agreement that I'm going to beat you for 30 minutes as you rest for 6 hours. Mr. Tracy forced me to make a statement, something I refused, which added me more punches around my body, around my head, and everywhere. He told me, you must make a statement, you must make it, you must make it. I was like, please, I need a lawyer to make a statement. Like, you're not making a statement, I'm going to write it myself. He's going to write it himself. That's what he said. I've heard when he's turning pages, scratching around with something I thought like as if he's writing. After some 30 minutes, he told me, yeah, I'm now done, you're going to sign. He's like, please, if you've done that, you've done that by yourself, not me. He kicked and slapped me again. After some time, she left those things. He didn't make me sign, he didn't make me do anything. She dragged me out again, dragging me by the hands, which were so paralyzed, put me again in the waiting same double cabin patrol car. She took me back where that day they caned me more than that we were doing before. They caned me a lot. How I wish I was able to see that they were caning me, but I was unable. But at least I'm sure Mr. Tracy Hamdan was there because I would hear his voice, and I know because he was always talking about that name. He was always telling me, I'm Tracy. I feel you're listening to this. He told me injection. I was injected by something. Now I believe it might have been steroids, so that my swellings and that were going to see me. But the person who saw the clear picture, as I told you before, it is Honorable Mwiru. I remember that night is the first time my wife was allowed to see me, but as entering the room where they had put me, and also my personal doctor was there, they checked me, they examined me and everything. I told them where I feel most of the pain. Those people were so professional, the doctors of the hospital. I want to thank them, they were so professional. Because even when my wife when she came in, these police officers, they used to be Mr. Kwesije and another one called Okecho. They were in that room, I remember, because Kwesije introduced, he told me, I want to introduce to you my senior colleague called Okecho. Those people never allowed my wife to see me that very first day. They turned off the lights because I think they were fearing her to break down in tears on seeing my face and my body, how it was having the different wounds, because they wanted me to, those things that is first reduced down. Nebagala bisooke bikendereko ebiwundu ebyo bwe bali bankubye empisa eyo gye ndowooza nti tekubamu steroids, so that ebintu ebikendera. Era yasobola kundaba olunaku olwaddako, naye bambi yayagalanga nnyo okunnaaza to give me a bed bath, naye tebamukkirizanga muwa privacy. Era yabanyunyulanga nnyo n'abasaba n'abalemerako that please, I need some privacy, I need some privacy, Mr. Kwesije, I need some privacy. Because for her, she was the face of Mr. Kwesije. I need some privacy. Mr. Kwesije refused. He was like, we are supposed to keep in here to see everything. She was never allowed to be with a phone inside, but they would handle her phone from outside. She was allowed to be talking on phone and she knows the language. Mr. Kwesije, she informed me, my wife informed me that Mr. Kwesije was very happy and said to her that, oh, I'm very happy that you're part of us. Now, you know, Bridget, I want to take you to President Museveni so that you leave this shit in Muganda. He's taking you nowhere. Tugenda kufuula omugaga ennyo tukwe buli kimu kimwetaaga, tugenda kuddamu kwagala because bano tebalina busobozi kulaba nga batu jako ffe bannannyini nsi eno, ffe bannannyini Uganda. One day, after some days at Uganda Hospital, they told me that I was going to be referred to Zambia Hospital to see a pathologist to work on my eyes, and they were unable to really handle my pain. So they were like, we are going to take you to another hospital. Health workers of that place, the nurses were very good. the cleaners, and some of these people, even the non-uniformed, some of the junior officers whom they used to live was in the room, they actually told me a secret which I want to open up right here. That is like most of the ununiformed who were always surrounding you, those were SFC people. Era I remember Honorable Sebona was there. These people assaulted me while still putting me in their double cabin car. Honorable Sebona objected all that, and he read to them the doctor's referral document. It was like, just read here. This person they're saying is unable to sit, is unable to do anything. Please help that you make sure that you get an ambulance. Now he wondered that if you're doing all this in my presence, I'm now wondering what will you be doing? What have you been doing when I'm not there? So whatever happened at that moment, these guys listened. Never muliriza. Never saw an ambulance. Now go to an ambulance and probably ambulance. Now come never within some few minutes, they were able to bring an ambulance from police, informed me by my wife. They put me in that ambulance. Mr. Tracy J. Mr. Tracy J was like, Mr. Tracy J is in front. He cannot see us this side, but there was a nurse that hospital instead there. And also there was a person who was not in uniform, told to me by my wife. And that person was called Dan. That Dan, I would hear my wife complaining of bad touches from Dan. So, my wife was telling me, this officer, you should leave me. The officer was like, Dan, leave me alone. Like, there's nothing you can do here. They silenced her also by a slap. That was the time they were taking us, thinking that they are taking us to Nsambya Hospital. They just passed through. My wife told me, and the nurse was inside there, that hey, this path just passed by this hospital in Nsambya. We thought we were going to be this side. They just made sure that they rotate around town. My wife informed me that these people, I think they are getting to Mityana for court. So, these people drove at a very terrible speed. They made sure that Honorable Sebona doesn't follow us. Took me by my wife. They drove very fast up to Mityana court. I think most of the stories now at the Mityana court, they're in the public domain, because I think I do not have to repeat all that happened next. But one thing I remember, there was an ambulance driver who came from me. An ambulance driver came, is the one who pulled off the IV line and the boat of the and the cannula, one of the cannulas, because there were two. One of the cannulas was, he moved it with so much violence. He moved it forcefully from me. It pained me so much. They lifted me, everything I think you saw, it was in the public domain. I don't need to repeat that, but we are still looking for the name of that driver's name. So, these people, I heard that I refused to sign bond papers, and that was Mr. Ochola Martin. I do not think really he's aware what happens in an institution he purports to lead. I do not think he knows what happens there. I want to really be thankful of Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and the wife, who kept in communication even when he was refused to see me but he kept in communication with my wife. I want to thank the honorable colleagues, Honorable Segona. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you, Honorable Mill, enough. Honorable Basadura, thank you so much. Honorable Karanga, thank you so much. I want also to thank my lawyers, and that is there's counsel. There's counsel. Yes, Aaron Kiza. Yes, I want to thank you so much, Counsel Aaron Kiza. I want to thank Counsel Marvin. I want to thank the Counsel Kamia Ibrahim. I want also to thank other lawyers from Mityana and all those people who are able to check on me. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank so much Iran Uganda Hospital, Dr. Kato. I want to thank you so much for making a good report and doing everything you really did within the medical ethics. I want to thank where I am right now so much. I want to thank Rubaga Hospital so much. Banage nebazanya ba Rubaga, nebazanya ba Uganda, nebazanya ba council bonna, nebazanya ba member ba parliament, nebazanya buli omu yenna. And the unsung hero, my wife. I'm not the hero, she's the hero. She was there for me so much. I want also to thank all Ugandans home here and abroad who were able at least to do something to put pressure that I be released and be displayed to you. Something they never wanted to do because they kept me for weeks. And everything they put on me, the slashes, they are still on my bum, the marks. All they did in my chest, they are still there. I'm going to show you all those things. Please, I just can't thank you enough, Ugandans. Thank you so much. I want to inform you about the way forward. I've informed my lawyers to really prosecute the Semwai boss and his deputy. The Semwai boss is by the names of Kandiho Abel. I informed my lawyers about his deputy, that is CK Asimwe. I also told them about Tracy Amadan. Also informed them about the Semwai director is called that Semwai boss is called Eli. The other name Womanya. Yes. Is it? I think that is the name Womanya. Yes.
Okay, Semwai boss.
Yes, Semwai boss. And then also the SIU commandant. I informed my lawyers about the SIU commandant by the names of
That's Womanya.
yes, Womanya. That is Womanya. The same. Yes, the SIU boss. And then also I informed them about the name of the ambulance driver. Actually, I don't know the name as I informed you earlier, but we are still looking for that name. Please, anyone knowing the name of that ambulance, the registration number is 5713. The registration number of that ambulance, that driver, it is that the registration number is 5713. It was told to me by my wife. She was able to remember that person. And we are still really looking out for several other names so that these people are prosecuted, and we want to see them being put. I want them to face the law. Njagala babateke mu court amanya g'abantu abo nabategeezezza dda balooya Semwai boss, the semi-boss, our SIU boss, the semi-boss, the deputy, and the boss himself, the semi-boss that one, I put the names I've informed you. Abona lawyer bange bakola ekyetaagisa okulaba nga bakolako era ne mbategeeza n'amannya g'aba RPC nabo bennyini kuba they initiated my torture, and the RPC's name, I remember it so well, I can't forget that name. It is Bob Kagalula, and also the DPC Mwine Alex Mukono. I remember it so well. Those people, I've already informed my lawyers. If not today, tomorrow, the case must be locked in very fast, because I really see these people face the law. I want them to be prosecuted. So I think, comrades, I need to rest.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to do this now. Can I moderate, sir? Okay. So he's not going to translate it to Luganda. He needs to rest, but also the hospital tells us we have taken so much time doing this. Okay. They are getting jittery, so they really want us out of this place. Okay. What we are going to do, we are running the question, so we'll have you just ask one question, and then maybe the wife will show you some of the skill wounds, and then we exit this place.
Yeah, Honorable, with whatever you went through, are you denouncing the struggle?
Oh, I cannot go down. I continue with the struggle, and I want to let you know that I'm beginning from where I stopped from. Mr. I want to inform you that was asking me that question, that Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, I still refer him as my next president, not the one they informed me about. He is still my president and is my next president.
Okay, thank you. Honorable is also going to give you a copy of this statement.
This copy was transcribed. I told the story I've told you to my lawyers, and it was well transcribed. And I want to put a thumbprint to it to show that it belongs to me, and I want this to be shared everywhere.
So he's going to issue, you people will get a copy of this statement. Of course, he had to narrate it, but with the help of his lawyers, he was able to have this transcribed.
Show them discuss on my
I don't know how you're going to sit that down.
you can push this side. It's here.
Just around here, the cups.
Cups here.
Even the back, I don't know how you're going to sit that down. It's okay, I think. No, you're going to hurt yourself. He's going to hurt himself.
Yes, that's enough.
Okay, so can I just adjust the bed because it's not comfortable in this position.
What is okay. I'll come in tomorrow. That's okay.
They can come in.
Okay, so we'll find ways of getting this document to you.
I want to put a thumbprint.
Okay.
Wait.
It's okay, let me know.
No, never.
You're going to get them.
Yes, for them.
Please share it with the media too. Because I've been unable to tell everything, but everything at least was read to me by my wife and my lawyer, and everything is true. That's what I remember.
So, are unable to sign. That's good. Okay. Okay, so we are going to make available this document to you in a very short while, and then you can pick out the extracts. Thank you, everybody.